I personally look forward to this almost as much, maybe more, than new hardware in September. Because if the software isn't good, then the hardware really doesn't matter in my eyes. So who else is super excited? I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy. WWDC will kick off this Monday, June 3rd with a keynote event where Apple will unveil its next iterations of iOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS. And so in this video, we're gonna go over what you can expect to see announced from Apple during the event. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications whenever we share a video. We actually made a whole video about iOS 13 leaks and rumors, and so you can just go ahead and click the card up in the top right of this video if you're interested in seeing more information about all of that. But we are expecting iOS 13 to be sort of a major update with new features coming that users have been clamoring for, most notably being dark mode. Users will have the choice to switch between light and dark themes in what we would assume would be a system-wide feature, much like Apple introduced last year in macOS Mojave. There aren't a whole lot of specifics quite yet, but we did see a few leaked screenshots of what dark mode might look like in apps like the Music app. We can also expect to see some sort of change to the volume interface, which currently blocks the content of whatever it is you're looking at. So if it's a video, it's smack dab right in the middle of the video, which could be pretty obnoxious. It's not entirely clear what it's going to look like, but the good news is it's hopefully going to change for the better and to something less obtrusive like you see in our mock-up, or maybe something like how Instagram does it with the volume interface being in the top left corner. iOS 13 is also expected to streamline sleep time behavior with a new sleep mode that's available in the control center. And according to rumors, sleep mode will toggle on Do Not Disturb. It'll darken the lock screen so it's not bright if you pick up your phone in the middle of the night, and it'll mute all incoming notifications. It also looks as if Apple will be overhauling iPad-specific features in iOS 13 that could lend to a pretty significant update for iPad users. Now, these are some of the rumors and features that I'm mostly excited about and interested in. With this update, users could see improved multitasking, iPad apps will support multiple windows through a tab view, and there may even be stackable cards within the apps that can be rearranged. Apps will have sheets that are initially attached to the screen, but then you can detach them and drag them around so that you can have multiple instances of the same app or even different apps open. And much like other card-based interfaces that we've seen in parts of iOS, you can close out an app card by flinging a card to dismiss it. There have also been rumors about mouse support coming to the iPad as an accessibility option, and iOS 13 would be an ideal time to introduce that feature, though it has not been confirmed that it is going to be part of the update. Those are some features that to me makes the iPad more of like a real computer, and so if Apple wants us to replace our computers with iPads, which I'm not totally sure is what they really want us to do, because then who would buy MacBooks? But it seems as if they want us to use the iPad more like a computer, and so having a more computer-like OS would really, really help. And so these features are a step in the right direction. Finally, there will be some updates to Apple-specific apps like Find My iPhone, Mail, Messages, Reminders, etc. Now with Find My iPhone, the name itself could actually just be changing to something more simple like Find My, since it's expected to not only incorporate finding your device, but also finding your friends. The new app is said to include a networking feature that will allow Apple devices to be tracked even when not connected to a Wi-Fi or cellular network by leveraging other iOS devices that might be close by, which makes that feature far more useful in my opinion. With Messages, users could be gaining a new WhatsApp style feature that will allow them to add their own profile picture and display name and then choose who actually sees that information. As far as the Mail app goes, Apple might be adding some new features that will organize messages into searchable categories like marketing, purchases, travel, not important, and more. Plus, there will be a read later queue, an option to mute incoming mail notifications for specific email threads, and a tool for blocking people that you don't want to talk to. All good stuff here, and sort of the features that you see other third-party apps have made very popular amongst users that would maybe make me switch from my favorite third-party app back to the stock Mail app. Finally, the Reminders app might get overhauled to make it somewhat more useful in my opinion, with sections broken out into today, scheduled, all, and flagged tasks. The Reminders app is one of those that I definitely want to use, but the lack of features and the stale UI has left me just kind of ignoring it and picking up a third-party app, but it would be great to see some more attention in that direction. Moving on to macOS, which would be macOS 10.15, which we also expect to be named after some sort of California landmark. will feature more information on the internal project known as Marzipan that Apple introduced last year, where developers can design a single application that works across iOS and macOS and could easily support a touchscreen or mouse or trackpad. This universal app should make it easier for developers and cut down their workload, and also increase the available apps on macOS. So kind of a win for everybody. iOS apps ported over to the Mac will be able to take advantage of Mac-specific features like the touch bar and keyboard shortcuts, along with support for multiple windows. Adding Mac support to an existing iOS app will be as simple as checking a checkbox in Xcode, which I'm not a developer, but I would imagine is a huge leap forward in the right direction. There will also be new music, podcasts, and book apps, some of which will be built using Apple's Marzipan developer tools. Unfortunately, due to this update, it looks as if iTunes will officially be retired. There was some thought that it might be sticking around, as it could be useful for syncing iOS devices with your Mac, but it seems as if the music app will be able to handle that feature, so iTunes will most likely be no more. Finally, there's also a rumor that macOS 10.15 could feature an option to send any app to an external display, including connected monitors and even an iPad. The feature is said to be available through a menu that can be opened by hovering over the Maximize icon in any Mac app. Users can also open these apps on an external display, making Windows full screen too, and tiling the windows as well. If you're using an iPad that supports Apple Pencil, this could even turn your iPad into a Wacom-style tablet, allowing users to draw and interact with those applications, which could be kind of cool. Shifting over to watchOS, watchOS 6 could also see its fair share of new features, with the first major update coming in the form of its own app store, where users can now download new Apple Watch apps right from their wrists. Not entirely sure how well or how this will actually work, but one would imagine that this Apple Watch App Store could also be available on your iPhone, which would make things a lot easier to see what exactly you're downloading. We can also see a few new apps for the Apple Watch, like a dedicated calculator app, voice memos, and audiobooks, as well as a few new health-specific apps like Dose app for pill reminders and Cycles app for tracking menstrual cycles. Aside from all that, we should also expect to see some new watch faces, like 2 of those new extra large faces with the big numbers and the big fonts and different color options, as well as a California dial that's similar to a classic watch face, but with a mix of Roman and Arabic numerals. As far as tvOS 13 goes, well, it's not really clear what exactly we're going to see, and there's usually not a lot of major updates to tvOS. But it's possible we can see some new refinements or updates to the new TV app that was just launched, and possibly some new information on the upcoming Apple Arcade gaming subscription service that was announced back at March at the TV-specific event. WWDC is obviously a software-specific event, but that doesn't mean hardware is completely out of the picture, as it's possible that Apple could finally debut a glimpse of the new Mac Pro that is set for 2019 release, hopefully. There's no guarantee that we're going to see the new Mac Pro, but when Apple debuted the 2013 Mac Pro, it was shown off at WWDC before the December launch. Apple is also rumored to be working on a 6K 31.6-inch high-end display to go along with that Mac Pro, so fingers crossed that we actually get a look at that too. Of course, whatever Apple might do or announce during the event, Mac Rumors will be right here to give you all of the coverage that you might need. Be sure to follow our live blog for those who want to stay in the know during the event. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our entire coverage of the event itself, as well as hands-on with the new software betas throughout the week. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.